Vlogmas Day 5, and I've watched a few reading journey videos, and I decided I wanted to do my own, so let's do this. I have written notes, just because my reading history is kind of long. I mean, I've been reading for my whole life, so we'll see where this goes. Unlike most people I meet, I was born into a family and a house where books were revered. It has led me to a realization about the students that I've had this and previous semesters who just don't care when I read them passages of great literature that really move me. I've discovered that my life inside of fictional worlds is equally important to me as my physical actual life. Whether or not that's healthy, don't really care. You know, I enjoy my fictional life just as much as my real life, and sometimes more. My fictional life, there's no need to work or have a job or pay bills. You know, escapism. So, I was born into a house where books were revered and books were loved, and they were the ultimate form of entertainment. Or to such an extent that I was allowed a half an hour of TV time a day, if I haven't already told you that. So most of my childhood was spent watching Disney movies 3 days at a time, or watching episodes of The Hidden Temple, which I should really watch some of those. Like, if those are around on YouTube, I should find them and watch them because I loved that show a lot. Legends of the Hidden Temple. Forgot part of the title. So most of my books that I read as a child were classics being read to me by my parents at night, or abridged versions of classics. I forget the title of it. If I can find it, I'll put it here. There was a line of children's books that were abridged classics, like Ivanhoe and Little Women and all that stuff, that my parents bought me a ton of them. I don't know what happened to those. I probably had like 20 of them. And my brother had some. We would go to this one bookstore that has now been turned into a Rue 21 at our local, shopping center place, and Mom would pick us out a couple books. Also, when my parents took us out to eat once a weekend, I think it was usually Friday nights, we would go to Beechwood Mall in Cleveland, and my parents would take us to the bookstore either before or after dinner, and my brother and I were allowed to pick out a book each week, and we would buy it, and our library slowly grew. Sadly, all of those books have been lost, but I remember my favorite was a book about the history of bookmaking, and it was a pop-up book, and it had, like how books were made in the Middle Ages and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. I wish I still had it. So, moving on! Oh, particularly to this time of year, my dad used to read A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, which I have, but it's downstairs. And I've actually incorporated it into my lesson plans this week because I think students should know about it. I'm hoping I can get Dad to read that to me this year, maybe tape some of it, just so that I can have it for future times. My love of books, it was kind of just a part of me since I was born. It was helped by my parents, nurturing that love and exposing me to different things and taking me to the library. We had a pretty good one nearby, and, we'd go there and check out books and such. Here, I will mention a few of my childhood favorites. I don't really remember when I read them or how old I was, but these are the books that I'm glad that I've managed to track down so I can have them now. My probably ultimate favorite childhood book is Emily of New Moon by L.M. Montgomery. I do love Anne of Green Gables as well, but Emily of New Moon, she just got me. The flashes that she talks about, I used to experience those, and I still do every once in a while, although the childlike side of me, dies a little bit every day when I have to do adult things. I started reading it a while back again, and I really should read it. And I want to read I've read this one at least 3 or 4 times. There are 2 extra books in this trilogy, and I remember Emily of New Moon is a grown-up in the last one, I think, and it deals with relationships and a little bit more of adult stuff, so I'd like to read that one again when I remember to buy them. This, sadly, is not my original copy, but it is The Egypt Game by Zilpha Keatley Snyder. I've probably already talked about this. My original copy was battered and smaller and purple, and I love this book so much. I need to read it again soon. And this one I mentioned in a haul a while back. Anastasia Krumpnik by Lois Lowry. This is the book that I couldn't remember the title of with the lists. You know, where she has lists of things in her secret green notebook. It's awesome. I should read this. I'm sure I could knock it out in like an hour, but it's a great book. Okay, this is kind of, if I'm going to split this video into 2 parts, this is where I should do it. So, this is the end of part 1 of my reading history, because right at the, you know, at the cusp here is where my life changes for the better, and the worst. So stay tuned for part 2. Ka-chink. Books to Huda out. See you the next day.